All right, so we've got this mountain of research on Koh Samui real estate.
Yeah, looks like
Articles, listings,
it
legal
sinks.
stuff, the whole shebang. Looks like someone's serious about maybe investing on this island, huh?
Definitely seems like it. And you're right. To really dig in, I think Koh Samui's got a lot to offer. But any investment, especially overseas, you got to understand the ins and outs, the details.
For sure, for sure. So, big picture. What are we seeing here? I'm noticing Koh Samui is getting a lot of buzz. It's not just a pretty vacation spot anymore. It seems like it's becoming a real estate hotspot.
Absolutely. And you know, it's interesting. The kind of investor Koh Samui is attracting. We're seeing a big shift, noticeable one, towards luxury properties. Not talking about your basic beach bungalows here. These are high-end villas, infinity pools, private beaches, custom designs, everything.
Okay, that explains some of these prices I'm seeing in these listings. One villa was going for like 22 million THB, but is this demand for luxury going to last, or is this just a passing trend?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Literally. And the answer's got to come from understanding what's driving this. One thing, it's a new class of buyer coming in, affluent, both Thai and foreign, and they want that luxury escape. Koh Samui is beautiful, naturally, plus it's getting this reputation for high-end amenities, services, so it's perfect for this kind of clientele.
So it's more than the property itself, it's the whole Koh Samui experience they're buying into.
Exactly. You've got, think about it, Michelin star restaurants, world-class spas, exclusive beach clubs.
Yeah.
All this caters to a certain crowd, sophisticated high spenders. This influx of wealth, that's what's pushing the luxury demand, and that pushes prices up.
But location still matters, right? Just like anywhere, some spots are hotter than others.
Absolutely. Koh Samui's got a diverse landscape, offers different lifestyles, different investment opportunities. The articles you sent, they highlight some key areas. Chon, for example, known for its nightlife, bustling tourist scene. Popular if you're after that lively, high-energy vibe.
So if I'm picturing myself cocktails on a crowded beach, Chawing's the place to be.
Maybe. But if you're thinking more tranquil, family-friendly, then Beaufort might be better. It's got that village charm, beautiful beaches, still has high-end restaurants, but it's more laid back.
And what about Play Lam? I keep seeing that pop up, often with those super luxurious villas.
Playland, that's the spot for high-end exclusivity.
Hmm.
It's quieter, more secluded, and it's got some of the most stunning properties on the whole island. Think private villas perched on cliffs, overlooking the ocean, infinity pools, panoramic views, the works.
All right, so let's say I found my Koh Samui spot. Before I start browsing listings and daydreaming about my beachfront villa, we gotta talk legalities. Owning property in Thailand, especially as a foreigner, some of these articles mention these leasehold agreements, and that sounded a bit complicated.
Yeah, the legal side is crucial. For foreigners, most common way to own is a leasehold agreement, usually 30 years.
So I wouldn't technically own the land, just the right to use it for 30 years.
That's the gist. You lease it from the owner, usually a Thai national. You can build, you occupy the property for that lease period. The important thing is, these leases, they can be renewed, but the terms of that's up for negotiation with the landowner.
Okay, so adds another layer of complexity. Anything else legally I should be thinking about?
Another thing foreign investors do is set up a Thai company, specifically to buy the property.
Hold on, I gotta become a mini tycoon just to own a beach house.
It's not as scary as it sounds. Setting up a Thai company can actually have some benefits. It can give you more flexibility in terms of ownership, control over the property. It's a way around some of the restrictions Thailand has on foreigners owning land.
That makes sense. But it also highlights why getting expert legal advice throughout this whole process is so important.
Couldn't agree more. Having a good lawyer, one who specializes in Thai property law, that's key. They can guide you through all the lease stuff, company formation, make sure your investment is legally sound.
So location, legalities, it's a lot to juggle. But the fun part, I gotta be honest, picturing the actual property, right? Koh Samui's got options. Villas, condos, even land you can develop. Where do we even start?
So many choices, right? Like a real estate menu, and I'm ready to order it all. But let's break it down. What's the difference between, say, one of those amazing villas and a fancy condo?
Really depends what you want from Koh Samui, and what you're trying to achieve with your investment. If you're after total privacy, space, the I'm the king of the castle feeling, then hard to beat a villa. You got your own little world, often with a pool, garden, and those ocean views we were talking about. Plus, owning a villa, standalone in a great spot, that comes with a certain prestige.
Already picturing myself poolside, coconut in hand, no one around to bother me. But I bet that kind of luxury doesn't come cheap. You're not wrong. Villas, especially those prime spots. Play Lean, for instance, they command a premium. Remember that 22 million THB villa we mentioned? Yeah, that's kind of the ballpark for high end. But villas can also be great for rental income, especially if you're going after that luxury travel market.
Okay, so if a villa is like the penthouse of Koh Samui Real Estate, where do condos fit in?
Condos are more like the stylish studio apartment of the island. They're a good way to get into the market, more affordable, especially for first-time buyers. Or if your budget's a little tighter, you're often part of a bigger development, so you get those shared amenities, pools, gyms, sometimes even restaurants or spas.
So, a bit more social, less private, but with those added perks, the convenience.
Exactly. And condos are really popular with people who want that lock-and-leave lifestyle. Fly off knowing your property's safe, taken care of within a managed complex. But one thing, there are limits on how much of a condo foreigners can own. In Thailand, it's 49% maximum.
Ah, so that's a factor if I'm thinking condo life. But what if I'm feeling really bold, like entrepreneur vibes? What about buying land, building my own dream place from scratch?
Now you're talking. That's where it gets really interesting. Buying land gives you ultimate control. You design, you build, you make something truly unique. It's a good path if you've got a specific vision or if you're thinking of maximizing profit by developing and then selling.
Sounds exciting, but also kind of scary. Navigating land ownership, construction, all in a different country, that's got to have its challenges, right?
Definitely got to research zoning, building permits, find good contractors, and of course, you still got to deal with those foreign ownership limitations.
Yeah.
But if you've got the right team, experts you can trust, it can be really rewarding.
All right, so I've envisioned my villa, checked out some cool condos, even thought about becoming a Koh Samui developer. Now let's get to the less fun but super important stuff. Money. Can the average person actually afford to buy in Koh Samui?
That's a question everyone wants to know, right? And the answer is, it depends. Financing for foreigners in Koh Samui, it exists, but it's a bit more difficult than back home, usually.
So no just walking into a bank and getting a mortgage, huh?
Not quite that easy. Local Thai banks, they do give mortgages to foreigners, but they usually want a bigger down payment, like sometimes up to 40% of the price.
Mm.
Interest rates can be higher too, and you got to provide a lot of paperwork, prove you're financially stable.
Okay, so not impossible, but definitely got to plan ahead financially. What about looking for financing outside of Thailand?
Worth a shot. Some international banks do mortgages for overseas property, but again, expect bigger down payments. And the interest rates might change. They're not always fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Got to shop around, compare offers, find a lender who gets the specifics of financing in Thailand.
So lots of shop around and do your research, which honestly sounds a little overwhelming. Anything else on the financing front I should know about?
There's this option that's getting popular, especially for the higher end stuff. It's using private lenders. These are like individuals or investment groups willing to lend money for property, but they want higher interest or maybe a share of the profit.
Ah, so higher risk, but potentially higher reward too.
Exactly. Private lending can be good if you don't qualify for a regular bank loan, but you got to be careful. Vet any lender really well and understand the terms of the deal you're making.
Okay, so financing is a whole world in itself. But then there's another potential money roller coaster, currency exchange. How do I even begin to figure that out?
The currency game. It's a big factor, especially when you're talking big amounts of money. The Thai baht, its value goes up and down against other currencies, so the price of your, dream property, it can shift depending on those exchange rates.
So I could end up paying way more than I thought if the exchange rate goes bad.
That's the risk. But there are ways to protect yourself. One is using something called a forward contract. Basically, it lets you lock in an exchange rate for the future. Gives you peace of mind knowing the price you agreed on. That's what it'll be no matter what the currencies do.
Forward contracts. I've heard that term but never really understood it. Can you break it down for me?
Sure. So imagine it like insurance for your currency exchange. Let's say you found your dream villa, agreed on a price in Thai baht, but you're worried your home currency might get weaker before you got to pay. A forward contract, it lets you fix the exchange rate at today's rate, even if you're not paying for months. So if the exchange rate goes bad, you're protected.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Hedging your bets against the unpredictable currency stuff. But honestly, all these finances, legal stuff, property choices, it's kind of making my head spin. Can you even do this whole Koh Samui real estate thing without losing your mind?
That's where having the right people on your side makes all the difference. And one of the most important is a good real estate agent.
Okay, so agents. Do I need one or can I just like DIY this whole property ownership thing?
You can go solo, but having a skilled agent, someone local, someone you can trust, that's invaluable, especially in a market like Koh Samui. Think of them like your Koh Samui guide, taking you through every step.
I like that, the guide analogy. But agents cost money, right?
They do,
Yeah.
usually a commission, percentage of the sale price.
Right.
In Koh Samui, it's usually between 3% and 5%. But think of it this way. A good agent can save you more than that. They'll negotiate better prices, spot potential problems with the property, and just make the whole process smoother.
So it's not just any agent, it's finding the right one, someone who really understands Koh Samui and has, my best interests in mind.
Absolutely. Look for someone with experience, good references, strong local connections. They should be able to give you insights on the market, on specific areas, and help you with that legal stuff, which can be tricky.
Okay, so I've assembled my team lawyer, financial advisor, and my Koh Samui guide, my agent. What's next on this property adventure?
Before you fall in love with that beachfront villa or sign anything for a condo, we got to talk due diligence.
Due diligence. The not so fun, but everyone says it's essential. What's that actually mean when we're talking about Koh Samui real estate?
Think of it as like a background check on your investment. You're
Yeah.
verifying everything, property title, who owned it before, any debts or claims on it, making sure you can legally access it, and that the listing is accurate. No surprises hidden.
So making sure there's no skeletons in the closet of my dream property.
Exactly. Don't want any nasty surprises after you've, put down your money.
Right, makes sense. But how do I even start with all that checking and verifying?
This is where your lawyer and agent are key. They'll hook you up with companies that do title searches, help you look over contracts, and guide you through getting any permits or approvals you need.
So it's a team effort. Legal expertise, local knowledge, and me doing my own homework, all to make sure this is a solid investment.
Exactly. Due diligence. It's like a full health check for your potential property. Not always fun, but totally essential to protect yourself, make sure everything goes smoothly.
Okay, due diligence. Check. So let's say, fast forward, I've found my place, legal stuff's all good, financing's in place, I'm officially a Koh Samui property owner. Now what? How do I make this investment actually work for me?
Now we're talking. It's all about getting the most out of that Koh Samui investment, and a popular way to do that is rentals.
Rentals. Now that's something I understand. Koh Samui, tons of tourists, so I imagine that rental market's pretty hot. Where do we even start with that?
Two main paths you can take. Short-term rentals, like vacation rentals, Airbnb type stuff, and then long-term rentals, where you lease it out for a year or even longer.
So short term's like tapping into that tourist money, and long term's more about that steady income month after month.
You got it. Each one's got its pros and cons. Short term, you can get high rates per night, especially during the busy season, but it's more work. You're handling bookings, cleaning, guest questions. It can be a lot.
So maybe not the best if I want to be a completely hands-off investor.
Probably not. Long-term rentals, they're more stable, less day-to-day stuff. You got that income coming in regularly, less people moving in and out, fewer headaches.
But maybe not the same earning potential as those high season vacationers. It's about finding that balance, right?
Exactly. Depends what you want, how involved you want to be, and your goals for the investment. Do you want to maximize how much you earn, even if it means more work? Or are you after a simpler approach with that steady rental income?
Okay, so let's say I've picked my rental strategy. What's next? How do I actually get those renters?
Got to understand who you're trying to attract. Who's your ideal renter? Families wanting a big villa, couples on a romantic trip, backpackers on a budget, or maybe expats looking for a longer stay.
So it's not just having a nice property, it's making it appealing to the right people.
Absolutely. Think about what amenities they want, the best location for their needs, even the style, the decor of your place. Marketing matters too. Good photos, descriptions that make people want to book, and using those popular rental websites, that's all important.
All right, so I've got my rental plan, bookings are coming in, things are good, but let's jump ahead again. What about the long game? What about selling eventually? Do I hold on to this Koh Samui property forever, or is there a smart way to, cash out?
That's thinking ahead. That's good. Every investment needs an exit plan. Koh Samui is no different. Selling is always an option, but when you do it, that's key.
Yeah.
Want to sell when the values are high? Ride those market waves.
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
How do I predict when the market's going to be good or bad? Need a crystal ball for that.
Wouldn't hurt. But really, staying up to date on market trends, that's key. Follow the real estate news, talk to local experts, and get professional valuations to see what your property is actually worth right now.
So knowledge is power, as always. But selling's not the only option, is it?
Nope. You could take your profit, reinvest it in other properties, diversify your portfolio, or even look into things like real estate investment trusts, REITs, for more passive income.
REITs, yeah. Heard that term thrown around. What are those exactly?
So REITs, real estate investment trusts, they're companies that own and run properties that make money. It's a way to invest in real estate without owning it directly. Like you pool your money with other investors, buy shares in this company that owns, say, shopping malls, hotels, apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Those properties are in rental income, and that gets paid out to the shareholders as dividends.
So it's a way to get into real estate without dealing with tenants, repairs, all that landlord stuff?
Exactly. REITs can be a good way to mix up your investments, maybe earn some passive income. But like anything, got to do your research, pick REITs that fit your goals, and how much risk you're comfortable with.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Location, legal side, types of property, financing, rentals, even selling down the line. But gotta ask about something that's, well, kind of unavoidable these days. Climate change. How does that factor into all this Koh Samui real estate stuff?
It's a big factor, and it's getting more important. Climate change is real, and it's affecting places all over, including islands like Koh Samui. We're talking rising sea levels, storms happening more often and more intense, and weather patterns shifting.
So it's not just about finding a beachfront place with a great view anymore. It's also about understanding the risks that come with those locations.
Exactly. Properties near the coast, they're more vulnerable to climate change. Flooding, erosion, storm damage, those are all things that could happen, and that could affect property values, insurance costs, all that.
So location's not just about what's pretty anymore. It's about understanding the long-term environmental side, too.
Absolutely. And that's where due diligence is so important. Research how vulnerable the area is to climate change. Check those flood zone maps and talk to local experts, get their take on the potential risks.
Okay, so adding climate change research to my Koh Samui to-do list. But on a more positive note, I've noticed a lot of eco-friendly, sustainable developments popping up in Koh Samui. Is that just a marketing trend, or is there something real behind it?
It's definitely more than just a trend. Sustainability is becoming really important in Koh Samui real estate. It's driven by what buyers want and also by what the government's pushing for.
So it's not just about doing good, it's also becoming good business.
Exactly. Eco-friendly developments, they often have features that save energy, conserve water, and they use local sustainable materials for building.
So good for the environment and good for my wallet in the long run.
That's the idea. These features can mean lower utility bills, less maintenance, and maybe even a higher resale value. Plus, more and more buyers are looking for properties that, match their values, their environmental concerns.
So win-win. Less impact on the planet and maybe a better return on my investment.
You got it. Sustainability is not a niche thing anymore. It's becoming a core part of the Koh Samui real estate scene.
Okay, we've covered a ton in this deep dive. Market trends, the legal stuff, property types, financing options, rentals, selling, the impact of tourism, even climate change and sustainability. Feeling informed, but also a little overwhelmed. It's a lot to take in. But in a good way, it's like we've really, really explored the Koh Samui real estate market, haven't we?
I think we hit all the major points. We've talked about the opportunities, what to watch out for, and what you really need to think about before you jump in.
So for our listener, taking all this in, what's the bottom line? Is Koh Samui the right investment for them? What do you think?
That's the question, isn't it? And honestly, only they can decide. We've given them information, different tools, different viewpoints. Now it's about using that to figure out, okay, what are my goals? What's my situation? How much risk am I okay with?
Right. It's not one size fits all. What's a dream for one person might be totally wrong for someone else. It depends what you like, what you want financially, your vision for the future.
Exactly. If our listeners picturing, escaping to their own little piece of paradise, maybe earning some rental income and maybe profiting when they sell down the line, then Koh Samui could be a great choice.
But if they're unsure about the legal stuff or how tourism might change or even the impact of climate change, maybe it's time to rethink things or look at other options.
Exactly. It's about making a choice you feel good about, one that matches your finances, your lifestyle, and how comfortable you are with, the risks and rewards that come with investing overseas.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So to our listener, like always, we encourage you to dig into those resources you sent. Do your own research, talk to experts on the ground, maybe even plan a trip to Koh Samui, see it for yourself.
There's nothing like experiencing the island firsthand. Walk those beaches, explore the different areas, talk to people who've already made Koh Samui their home, get their perspective.
And remember, the more you know, the better. The more you understand about Koh Samui, the better decisions you can make, and hopefully, the more successful your investment will be.
Couldn't agree more. So to our listener, happy investing, and may all your Koh Samui dreams come true.
Happy investing!